Hey, thanks for joining us on today's Infinity Matrix live stream. Please consider this our gift to you as an exploration into the spiritual realm, the universal architecture of infinite possibilities. Here we teach, explore, experiment in order to share with you the secrets of the universe and its abundance of life-changing knowledge. Please remember to click subscribe and ring that bell to stay up to date with all of our continuing content.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 86. This is going to be a fun and potentially profound live stream for many of you. I'm Gary Johnson. This is my buddy Ross Arnson.
Hey, guys.
And in today's episode of Hacking the Infinite Matrix, we are going to explore how you can get unstuck from any frustrations you're having in your life and what you can do to just let go of anxiety. Any anxiety that may have been building up for you over the last couple of years. Okay, so as you join us today, please go ahead and tell us in the comments where you're tuning in from. And there is a delay with the stream, so if we don't catch it right away, please be patient with us, but do go ahead and tell us in the stream, because every week we are pleasantly surprised by the global reach and the global community that we're touching and connecting, communicating with out there. And while you're at it, if this is your first time here, please just go ahead and let us know by dropping a hashtag first time in the chat so we know who you are and we can properly welcome and greet you into the community. We do our best to get back after the stream is done to interact and communicate and respond to all the comments. So please just let us know, hashtag first time if it's your first time here. And one more thing, we do our best, like I said, to keep an eye on the comments even as we're doing the stream. So if you have any comments, questions, or insights, go ahead and drop them in the chat, and let's make this an interactive experience. And we'll do our best to get to them as we go through without interrupting too much of the content.
There we go. Estelle is coming to us from Eugene, Oregon. Welcome, Estelle.
Nice. Awesome. And while you're here, let me tell you about something we've been trying out. We want to try out. So it's a new thing, because every week for 86 weeks now, we've been doing these live streams, and we share some pretty profound and thought-provoking stuff. At least that's what we're told. Okay, and we promote implementation so much. Because we don't want to just be getting information out there. We want you to be implementing this stuff. And because we promote it so much, what we thought we'd do is we'd open up an additional call after the live stream for you to jump on and ask us live questions and even discuss the topic in a little more depth, but depth that's more specific to those who show up. So if you have something specific you want to address and talk about, you can jump on the call and join us for that. So if this is something you find that you'd find valuable and you'd be willing to participate in, let us know. We are going to open up a Zoom call right after this call, so about a 5-minute buffer so we can kind of switch technology. So it'll be 5 minutes before we start that right after this. And it'll be for those of you who are interested, you can jump on and get on and get some one-on-one support or implementation of today's topic. If that sounds cool and something you'd like to join us with, go ahead and type hashtag get unstuck. That's hashtag get unstuck in the comments, and we'll send you the link so you can join us on the Zoom as we're going through the chat here. That's hashtag get unstuck. Okay. So let me ask you, are you one of the ones who was looking forward to when things got, quote unquote, back to normal, right? And maybe even secretly hoped that it might actually be better? But now that, quote unquote, back to normal is somewhat here, all you feel is the fallout and the real impact of what we've all been through in the last couple of years? If so, you're not alone. There are more and more people feeling mentally, emotionally, financially, and spiritually stuck with no glimpse of light at the end of the tunnel. So what do you do when it seems like this spiral is getting out of control? The simple answer is you need to wake up your ultimate badass self.
That's right. So, but before you go waking anyone, think about the different areas of your life that are important to you. And notice, have you become increasingly frustrated with simple mundane things like driving and grocery shopping, or even simple household chores? Do you find yourself your own patience or your tolerance for your significant other, family, friends, or even work colleagues has become shorter and shorter? Or is it the other way around? More and more people in your reality seem increasingly impatient and short and rude and even gruff with you. If so, how do you find yourself responding to that kind of reality? Do you find, or do you simply just shrug it off and say, I just tolerate it, So, but when you do, what are you saying? What are you holding in? Do you stop and wonder, is it them or is it you? So stick around and maybe we'll find some answers and solutions together. And definitely drop that hashtag get unstuck in the comments so that we can send you the link to join us for the live Zoom right after this call. And we'll just be open up to all kinds of questions from you.
Yeah. Now, Stuart said, read your quote, you are not lazy, I'm motivated. Is that the right one? Am I? No, I'm looking at the wrong thing there. Okay. All right. So this is where we suggest you wake up your badass self. Okay. And we're not talking, we're talking more than just a bumper sticker or a set of words you throw onto an image to create a cute social meme. We mean really getting a hold of your most powerful, resourceful, and unstoppable badass self. Grabbing him, her, it, they, we, whatever the pronoun is, and shake that self awake so that you no longer tolerate the things that have kept you back, that have stopped you from living more of your true authentic self in your day-to-day living. If you want to be better in your career, if you want to have deeper connections in your relationships, optimize your health, and just establish habits that make you a better person today than you were yesterday, then lock into this stream and send out the warning signals. Let the world know that today you have decided to show up and live without compromise. And I want you to feel what that would feel like. If you were to say from here on out, you're going to live without compromise. Let that vibration of that reality frequency pulsate through you, or at the very least, get a sense of it already being present within you.
That's so true. And as you get more comfortable in your higher frequencies and your vibrations, you may find that you have less tolerance for the negative ones. And with some things, you're reacting rather than responding. And that's cool. That's okay. This means that you've been successful at practicing higher frequency attraction. And the universe is responding to these higher frequencies. Thus, more and more of your world is reflecting the positive state that you prefer. And some of the others are placed there to kind of basically to simply provide contrast. So when contrast is more stark for you, your higher frequencies are yielding you more wonderful experiences. But some feel that when you slip out of this, you feel as if you've crashed and burned, failed, you're no good, you're utterly pathetic. And you're not. Can anyone relate? Drop it in the comments. Is that how you've kind of felt at a time, one time or another? Don't be shy. There are no wrong answers to this. So drop that in the comments and let us know where you're at. Because when experience happens that signals your frequency that is lowered for that moment, don't brush it off as a bad experience, but rather a learning experience. Observing and interpreting exactly what happened that instilled the response or the reaction. Because for all you know, your metal is being tempered for something else even greater than this particular aligning event. You're being refocused and ever so slightly offset just a little, or perhaps a lot, towards something wondrous. And obviously you don't want to hinder your momentum at this point, but rather follow it through. Just like the 3 feet of gold example that we use in our free 5-day challenge. Stopping just short of the prize because your tolerance was limited instead of expansive. And like Gary said in one of our very first live streams, when asked, do you look at life as the cup half empty or half full? Actually, Gary, you know what? I think we should just let everyone type in empty or full. Let's just do it again.
Yeah.
So we'll give you just a few seconds. I know there's a kind of a delay. And tell us, how do you look at life? Is that cup half empty or is that cup half full?
And we'll just, while that, because there's a delay. So we got Yuri from Mexico is here. And first timer, awesome.
That's right. Yeah,
we got Estelle wants to be on the Unstuck. Way to go, Estelle. We'll send that link to you. Patty from Louisville, Texas, Kentucky, I believe. Monaco, way to go. And then half full, half full.
Okay.
All right. All right. We got a couple of half fullers out there.
Avery, what isn't working? So just a question there. Is it something on the stream that's not working? Be a little bit more specific. Okay. So thank you.
And we got some fulls too. Okay, great. Patty, okay. You've watched some of our stuff before.
Anna, you're cheating. That's right. So in essence, the cup is always full. It's just that we choose to see only the coffee or only the tea or the bourbon, or not, tea. And so when no one's looking, it's a special occasion, it might not be tea, it might be tea mixed with something or coffee mixed with something. But that's how we look at that cup. It is always full.
Yeah. So it's what I call infinity thinking. When you can consistently see everythingness of everything, right? When you can see the everythingness of everything, when we can let go of the constraints of polarities, the this or that mentality, and embrace the this and that and that and that too mentality, where it's all inclusive instead of seclusive, right? This is something you can do if it's something you can't do if you're just sitting on the sidelines in this game of reality, because you'll only see what you think you see, or worse, you'll see what you've been conditioned to see. And sitting on the sidelines is a perfect place to get complacent with what happens out there, with how things unfold. And then you build up tolerance for the things that are even tossed your way. And we've all been there, right? At some point in our life, there's things we've become tolerant of throughout our lives. Price of gas. Anybody being tolerant with that right now, right? Where you work, right? Anybody feeling some of the tolerance around that? And in the last couple of years, some people got so intolerant of that they decided to step out of that to make a change, right? But there's still a lot of people that are tolerant with the things that go on there, with what they put up with, their self-value that's projected and presented there. What about your relationships? Is there relationships that you've become tolerant with, right? Certain things in your relationship, certain people, or your state of health, or even your finances, et cetera, et cetera. And there's so many things. Some things insignificant and others deeply impacting your life, right? So the first step to changing any of it is to acknowledge it. So if you were sitting on the sidelines, if the chance you were at any way sitting on the sidelines, I ask you to get to a place where you can have an impact and influence the reality you experience. And that's on the playing field. And that's where we can then assess some of the frustrations. So go ahead and tell us in the chat something you've become tolerant with in your life, and for how long you have tolerated it. Okay. It could be, tolerating, something that a significant other does. It could be tolerating the amount of income that you have. It could be tolerating where you live. It could be something that you've tolerated in your life, and for how long. And if we have time today, maybe we can have some fun with whatever you put in the comments, and kind of reflect on them. And if not, then jump on the implementation call after this and join us on the Zoom. Okay, and that's hashtag get unstuck. Hashtag get unstuck. So a part of tolerance is finding out what you're comfortable with. Right, Ross?
That's it, for sure. And it's like when you learn to sip from that cup, tasting and savoring everything in the cup, and including the cup. Before long, the matrix will begin to cooperate with you in a more synchronized fashion, because it's already cooperating with the vibration that you are radiating now and all the time. And it isn't so much easier to work within a cooperative universe yielding to you exactly what you've asked it to do. But when we fall short, we try to substitute willpower and wishing for vibration. I'm going to use more willpower because last time it didn't work, you say. I'm going to use more restraint, you say. I'm going to focus my energy vibration before I leave the house, so to send out my best vibration all day long. And with this, I'll remind you of the rubber band example that we've used many, many times, of how conscious attention towards a specific task is fleeting and cannot be maintained. It's like saying, my cup will not overflow, just as long as I'm there focusing and watching it. So you're focusing and you're focusing and you're focusing until you're not. Okay? It only works as long as you can stay focused. So we learn the ebb and flow of tolerance, understanding that we too must ebb and flow, adjust and adapt, like standing in a boat and adapting to the rhythm of the waves until you kind of get your sea legs, as they say. Or learning to ride a horse. And I mean, when you ride a horse, you don't just sit there. You learn the rhythm of the horse and move with it, for a much more, trust me, a much more comfortable ride. Okay? Tolerance is defined as this: a fair, objective, and permissive attitude towards those whose opinions, beliefs, practices, racial or ethnic origins, etc., differ from one's own. Freedom from bigotry. Now that's a tasty cup of tea.
I'm just going to interject here, Roscoe. So Stell says gray thinking, and then we have Diane says she's tolerate narcissistic brother. Still unwake family members over 2 years now. Yeah, I mean, I think when you read these comments, I think everybody can relate in one way or another, right? And Phyllis says, feeling like crap, chronically sick and anxiety. I tolerate living here with no resident resources, even though they live different than me. I'm guessing it's family members. And then Patty says, my current living experience for quite a few years, I'm a caretaker for 4 great grandchildren, and I feel I was to be here, but it's time to move on, but I feel stuck to financial issues. Yeah, I think that, we get ourselves into certain situations, and we say, well, this cup of tea isn't really what I signed up for.
Yeah.
So we hear you all for sure.
I just put the link back in for the Zoom call after this one, so jump on there and let's discuss these.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find some solutions. Let's find a way to maybe put a little bit of sugar in that tea, or a little bit of cream or milk in that tea, or maybe it's just the tea itself. Let's figure this out. So and this is where it comes from, is that just like I asked earlier, when someone says, I just tolerate it, what are you saying? And what did they not say? What are you not saying? What if I said it like this? I choose to tolerate this. Now what am I saying? See how the framing changes your energy in your mind and in your body? It's more the truth than the first version, which makes you feel forced. I don't want to, but I'll do it anyhow. As to where now you're saying, I'm going to choose this. I'm going to, I'm starting to look at this differently. So is there a place for tolerance in your own reality? Is this something that you have to deal with or simply understand? Hence the choice. Choosing to understand and accept there are other ideas and opinions about the same subject. By choosing, you choose to learn yet another idea, as opposed to just tolerating, which is kind of like, I'm right, you're wrong, but I'm not going to argue about it. And then you swallow that negative energy. And these days it's happening over and over and over again. However, it's understandable that sometimes you have to kind of shrug it off and not say or do anything. Simply observe behaviors, because you now understand it's just them. Then it becomes a decision of whether it's worth stepping into it right now at this moment. Do you need to be right? When you deliberately...
Can I just jump in? Sorry, Russ, just a quick. So Phyllis says Zoom not letting you in. So Zoom won't let you in until we get there. So it's going to be a call after this. We're going to do separate from this. We're not live streaming that. So those of you that are trying to get in on a Zoom link that we sent there, that's going to be after this, where it's a separate call for you to join us and have one-on-one with us. Okay. We're not going to stream that because you may share some personal stuff, and we don't want to be putting that out on live stream without your permission on the stream. So after this is done, we'll take a short break to shift over to that because it's a different room, and then we'll join you in there. So All right, you got that. Okay, good. Sorry, Ross, I just wanted to make sure. So maybe that's what people were saying wasn't working before.
Yeah, so when we're near the end of this, we'll tell you exactly, okay, this is over, get on the Zoom.
Yeah.
So, and exactly what Gary just said is that, you know, some people are going to share things that are a little bit more personal, and we don't think you really want this to go broadcasting out. So these are very dear to us and very private for you. So we'll go from there. So when you deliberately practice recognizing that this is their reality, it's their choice and not yours. This is their opinion, not yours, which means every time your inner being is looking at this differently, using a different lens, a new viewpoint, the contrasts become enriching. Keeping in mind, write this down, keeping in mind all those different viewpoints, you also learn from other previous experiences just like this one. That's the beauty of it. While if choosing to stay focused only upon the differences is choosing to take a stance of opposition, and that's where and when we fall from balance. Let's say, well, some people say it's something to deal with, and by dealing with it, it becomes one of the most ineffective, unproductive, not good for your emotional state that you could ever endure. I'll just deal with it. While others savor that cup of enrichment, the assortment of flavors, the wondrous variety of the universe, allowing us opportunity to learn about others and ourselves, so that we can expand ever more. Always keeping in mind that you are infinite voyagers on an infinite journey of discovery. So savor what you experience, and savor what you learn, and savor the contrast and the differences. After all, they just allow your own uniqueness to shine ever so brighter.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a slightly different spin on the topic today, and possibly risk offending some of you and completely obliterating any excuses for any of the crap you have in your life right now. Okay.
Don't worry, he does that to me all the time, so we're good.
And I challenge you to keep an open mind and hear me out to the end. It'll be worth it, I promise. Okay. And if this is your first time on stream, please note that both Ross and I care deeply about everyone watching and will not intentionally or maliciously say things to hurt, offend, or abuse you. Not our intention at all. Okay. We are doing this from a place of love. So I'll be as gentle as I can, because if you stick around and really get what I'm going to talk to you about, it could completely alter the way you create the reality you experience. Okay. And I have to tell you that one of my teachers taught me this, and it made me a better therapist. It made me a better businessman. It made me a better person almost overnight, because I was able to become fully aware of what we call my evolution balance point, or EBP. Okay. Your EBP in the infinity matrix is the point on the scale that is slightly tipped on the side of growth and evolution. If you've heard any of our stuff before, Ross and I we openly don't promote the idea of having balance in life, in the sense of everything is fully balanced, equal on both sides. It's not something we promote, because that is a state of stagnation. It's a state where no thing is happening. We suggest you should strive to be slightly unbalanced, and unbalanced towards a side of reality that fosters growth and evolution. And that's what we call your EBP, your evolution balance point. So what exactly does the tolerance you have in your life have to do with this EBP in your life? When you first need to understand that every aspect of your life that you're experiencing right now is a direct result of what you are willing to tolerate. And here's what I mean by that. I've mentioned in past streams that I'm a retired master hypnotherapist, and during my career, I logged close to 20,000 one-on-one sessions. Okay. And after seeing that many people over those years, you start to get some very clear distinctions. Okay. And the one thing that I started to notice after my teacher taught me was that the degree to which people are willing to tolerate the things they don't want in their lives will dictate whether someone is ready and willing to truly make the change and have a complete transformation. That tolerance will influence the rate at which they will make the change and for how long they will sustain it. So let me give you a couple of live examples, what I mean by that. And you can maybe relate it to where you're at right now in whatever area of your life. In my hypnosis centers, the top 3 things that people came in for, and we did a lot of different things. The top 3 things they came in for was weight loss, stop smoking, managing stress and anxiety, and be more productive. Okay. So let's start with the weight issue. I could always tell how easy or how difficult the program was going to be for a client based on how much excess weight they were willing to tolerate and how adamantly they were about that number, that dress size, or even the shape of their body. Okay, so there were some clients who built up a tolerance for more and more excess weight over the years. It started out innocently by making excuses like, oh, it's just the freshman 15, or it's just 10 extra pounds, no big deal, right? Then it became 20. Then it became 30. And for many, it never stopped pushing the scale until the issue wasn't the weight, but it was the quality of life. And when the quality of life became intolerable with an extra 100 pounds, their tolerance ceiling was hit, right? They got to that level where, okay, we're not going past that. And that's when they decided to get serious about losing it and keeping it off. But if they weren't at that place, then they wouldn't either get the results or they wouldn't keep it. But when they get to that place, that tolerance level, right, then they came in and we helped them to lose it. And we had to teach them in the process, we have to teach them to become less and less tolerant with extra weight. So when they went from 100 pounds of overweight to only 80 pounds, we had to condition their mind to not tolerate anything over 81 pounds. 81, 82, we give them a little window, right? So when they get to a certain level, we say, okay, we're not tolerating anything above that. And then we work on the next set. And then when they were down to 60, we would set 61 as the tolerance level. And all the way down, right? We'd set new levels of tolerance and lock it in at the unconscious level, until they got to their ideal healthy weight, whatever that was for them. Then we gave them a healthy buffer of plus or minus 5, because we didn't want them to go too low either, because then that would create a different level of tolerance, right? So we want to have that buffer, whatever that weight was, plus or 5 above or below that number. And that was their new buffer they could stay within. So what we had to do is we had to figure out where their tolerance level was, and then we had to slowly reduce the tolerance level to the ideal of what they wanted the reality to be, and then create a safe zone of the above and the below of that, so that you've got some variance, so you're not rigid. Okay, I hope this makes sense to you. If you think about this in money, you think about your relationships, you can find the parallels there. Okay, and then with cigarettes, like people who came in who smoked, we had a slightly different approach. Okay, there are more steps than I'm mentioning here for sure, but one of the major steps was, before we did any hypnosis, we had them go to a place where the effects of smoking was no longer acceptable for them. Right? Where they would no longer tolerate those kinds of mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual impact anymore. Then they'd be ready to do the process of change. And many times we had clients would say, honestly, I don't even feel I need the hypnosis after we changed the tolerance, but they paid for it, so they felt they should do it. Right? And we had a success rate of 87% of people stop smoking after their first hypnosis session, which is a pretty good success rate. And we tracked our clients for years after to make sure they were still tobacco free. Right? So if you think about the reality you're experiencing right now, and you could take inventory of all the things that you are happy about and all the things you'd like to improve, you'll find that you are happy. The things that you're happy about, you're happy because there's deep down, you won't tolerate that area of your life being any different. And for those areas you'd like to improve, you'll find that over time you become tolerant for that level of discomfort. And no longer deciding now that it's no longer what you want, and realizing that. And the longer it's not the way you want it, the more tolerant you tend to get in that direction. Okay, but there will be a point when you say enough is enough. And that's when you'll be able and ready to change that reality. So our suggestion is to start today to lower your tolerance level for anything that doesn't make you feel joy, passion, and happiness. And until joy, passion, and happiness are the most dominant experiences in your reality, you keep lowering the tolerance until that's your reality. Okay. And again, if you want some clarity on figuring out some different ways of adjusting your tolerance level in the different areas of your life, join us on the Zoom call after we're done here. We'll drop that link in again. If you haven't found it, you can scroll up and find it as well. Join us where we can give you some more specific ideas on implementing what we've talked about. And if you haven't already done so, again, hashtag get unstuck will let us know that you want us to send you a message directly with the link, and we'll send that link to you. We're going to take a short 5-minute break after we're done here. We've got a couple more minutes here, and so we can adjust our mics and camera to the new Zoom room. And then we'll go for about an extra 20 minutes or so. Again, we'll play off of what you need, either more or less time, but that's what we'll do. Ross, you want to tell them what we're doing next week? And then I'm going to come back and wrap up the stream with kind of a summation of how to get unstuck.
Absolutely. So next week is our interview live stream. And we try to have one interview where we're bringing in someone of a different idea, different viewpoint of kind of the same material that we're dealing with now. So next week we have C. James Jensen, and he is the author of Expand the Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And he has been writing books for a couple decades now. And he's got a whole different kind of viewpoint of basically how to live life. and how to use, as Gary was just saying, how to use that subconscious mind to better control your reality and create your reality. And that's what we're all about. And
So come and join us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
a lot of fun.
We've done a few of these, and people are always, really enjoy the quality of the content and the guests that we have on and what they deliver. So definitely come and join us next Thursday, same time, same place, and look for the event link for that. So to wrap up the stream today, here's how you get unstuck from any frustrations and anxiety. Step one, figure out your tolerance levels that you've set for the things you don't want in your life. Okay. Then decide to start lowering your tolerance for that thing on a weekly or a monthly basis toward the result you prefer to be your reality. And this will be your evolutionary balance point, your EBP. Okay. And then step three is make a pact with yourself, a commitment with yourself and with those you love, that you will not tolerate anything less than the full expression of your greatness, because the world needs it. That's it. Those simple 3 steps. Just keep working on that, right? Because the world needs it. As a society, there are too many who've become too tolerant with the wrongs that are happening in the world. And the change has to start in us. So strive to be slightly unbalanced on the side of growth and evolution, with a narrow margin of tolerance for anything other than what brings you joy, passion, and happiness. Because what you tolerate will dictate what you consider for your EBP, your evolutionary balance point. Okay. And as you get less tolerant, the more firm your EBP becomes. But if you don't, then the more tolerant you become, the slippery the slope gets, and the harder it is to get back to your evolutionary balance point. Okay. So that's our stream for today, everyone. Till next time, or in a few minutes when we jump on the Zoom, we dare you to be exceptional. And the easiest way to do that is to implement what you learn and learn from what you implement. So to help you to do that, we're going to see those of you who join us on the Zoom. You can jump on. We're just going to switch over there, and we'll invite everybody in when we've got all of our techie stuff sorted out. All right. So thanks everyone for joining us, and we will see you shortly, or we'll see you on the next stream.
Peace be with you. See you later. Right. Bye-bye. Hey, thanks for joining us on today's live stream. Please consider this our gift to you, an exploration into the spiritual realm, the universal architecture of infinite possibilities. Here we teach, explore, experiment in order to share the secrets passed down from the masters. They've harnessed their own potential, claimed their badass self, and raised their game and leveled up. Whether it be in business, personal, romantic, for whatever aspect of life you choose, there's always a next level. So we encourage you to rekindle your passion and purpose, step it up, and register for our next free 5-day badass challenge. The link is below, and we are excited to see you take a leap into a new reality that only you can imagine.